Hello, welcome to the Pitchy Podcast. We're your hosts, James
and Stephanie.
Here on the Pitchy Podcast, we are passionate about good music and a great vocal. We'll use the vehicle of NBC's The Voice to give you our feedback on each contestant. We'll give you our feedback on their voice and the overall performance. Here on the Pitchy Podcast, we'll always keep it 100 with our feedback and critiques on each contestant's vocal and overall performance. But what we're never here to do is come for anyone's character or any contestant as a human being. Although sometimes we come off a little pitchy at times, if you know what I mean, we'll always do our best to keep our truths with love, kindness, and respect. Aretha said it best.
Yes.
And with that, let's get started with night 4.
Yes.
Of my favorite round, the battles.
Yes. Yes.
How you doing?
Whew. We are still spring breaking.
Spring breaking.
I have to learn from this spring into summer season for next to up my cardio in the winter so that I have the stamina to prepare for spring break into summer, because I'm tired. My kids are running me, not ragged, but they're just running and I'm having to run behind them. Yes. But it's been fun. I can't complain. It's been a good time.
Yes. And my in-laws just got in for the Easter holiday.
Yes.
And my nephews are here. We just bought a house in December, as you know, Stephanie.
Yes.
So we're all under one roof. So
yes.
We are having a party.
And you are also preparing for our church's Easter production, which my husband is also preparing for. So you have got a lot on your plate.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes, I do. But It should be very exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
To raise the lark.
Yes. Hallelujah.
All right. So without further ado, I know we're coming to you all a little late with this podcast or this episode. But like Stephanie always says, we're real people and we have real lives.
Yes.
So in preparation of families and spring breaking and all that, we're here. Okay.
Yes. The last time I checked, we were getting paid $3,000, not free $1,000. But we continue to show up because as much as we are passionate about a good vocal and a great performance, we are also very passionate about this podcast as well. So thank you, James, for continuing to show up every week.
You too, Stephanie. And thank you for your flexibility, my friends.
Anytime. I got you always.
Right, so let's jump right in.
Let's go.
Who we got first?
First up was from Team Nile. It was Talia Smith versus Jerome Godwin III, and they sang Like I Can by Sam Smith. Love this song. Yes.
We just said, we just said.
Yeah, we did.
Me looking at my mic again. I love this can song.
Mm-hmm.
I was really looking forward to it because it's such an enjoyable song. And I was like, you know what? Jerome and Talia are going to bring it's not that Sam Smith is soul, right?
Right.
But they're going to bring, I think, a different kind of soul
yes.
To it in knowing their voices. And they did not disappoint when it came to that. And maybe I didn't notice this. I'm going to start with Jerome first, Stephanie. Maybe I didn't know this. Jerome's got a nice growl to his voice.
He does, yes. Yes.
It is very controlled, number one, which I can appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate a good controlled growl. It's kind of like, doesn't make sense, but hey, it's controlled.
Yes.
But I need everyone to pay very close attention to what happened in the rehearsal. Jerome was struggling with the key.
Come on, talk about it.
And if you struggle with the key as a vocalist, you have to be confident enough in your vocal ability to say, this key ain't going to work for me.
That's right.
Okay.
Preach.
And sometimes And it may just take something as simple as asking the musicians to lower it a half step. And if you're working with the world-class instrumentalist,
Yeah.
and I take that back, I said musicians. I recant that statement because we are all musicians.
Yes.
If you're a good singer, you're a musician.
Uh-oh.
Working with good instrumentalists,
Yes.
transposing it a half step down ain't no thing.
Not a problem.
There's software out there that can reprint out charts that the instrumentalists use to put it in whatever key you need it to be in.
Right.
So, yeah, Jerome is young, so I applaud him for speaking up and saying those things. Let me go to the battle. This is a perfect example of each singer, in my opinion, shining when they needed to shine to their vocal abilities and really accentuating and singing to their vocal abilities. I thought Talia, were there some pitch issues? Yeah, in the beginning, but then I thought Talia brought it home. And to me, sometimes it's more impactful as a singer when you finish strong rather than start strong.
Come on.
And I thought Talia at the end was hollering on this song. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time in nerves in getting into a song in that particular moment.
Right.
Where, to me, it shows the most professional of singers of if you ever have a mess up or things aren't vocally going how you want them to normally go, that it's about really trying to figure out, it's a mind thing, right? It's about getting it out of your mind and saying, what, I still got the rest of the song to go.
That's right.
And I'm going to let them have it the rest of the song.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt like Talia did.
Yeah.
And another thing about Talia that is just so infectious, her spirit, like just her aura, like the whole being, like Talia. I know you're stationed right here in the DMV at Fort Meade. I'd love to meet you because I think you're my friend already in my head. Right? You're my friend, and congratulations, Talia, on the pregnancy.
Yes,
you're my friend in my head. You have such an amazing spirit that. I was rooting for you. I'm all this to say you're just that type of person, and like you have an incredible voice. Like seriously, like there's so many things, like so many genres I hear in your voice as well. So I love that about Talia as well. Jerome was just singing, like he was singing stuff, like. It was just like, love you like I can. Like just that controlled growl.
Thank you. Yeah.
And there's a maturity. There was a maturity in his sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I really appreciated. And it's interesting because I don't know if it was Chance or Niall or who said, I hear you singing all different styles of music.
Yeah.
Chance had said that last night. I've yet to hear that musical theater style that there's because musical theater was brought up again about him.
I heard it.
Brought up. Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk to that because I'm a self-proclaimed musical theater aficionado. I think I am, but but I didn't hear it so much. But if Stephanie heard it, then it's definitely there, and I can't wait to hear it. Is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So really good battle, really great song choice, and I'll let Stephanie talk to what else we saw.
So I will start with Jerome. I love that he changed the key because he was right at home in the key that they sang it in for the performance.
Perfect.
And I think that helped him. I'm sure that it helped him with his comfortability. I don't know if that's how you say it, level on stage. So I'm really glad that he spoke up and did that. And I think that key also worked for Talia as well. She didn't suffer behind that key change, so that was great as well. Jerome's runs and his melodic choices were fantastic. Like you said, it was a very mature. And when we say mature, we don't mean old. We mean that the vocal choices and the melodic choices and the run choices are executed really well, and they're really smart.
Yes.
So that was amazing. I did hear the musical theater, and I think that for me, that kind of comes with a vocalist who maybe trends in Jerome's case, he trends a little bit R&B, but he also trends pop, but there's a singer-songwriter element to it. So I think the storyteller element along with the R&B popish kind of molds itself in my ear to be musical theater.
I think about it also, and there's a lot of musical theater has to do with dynamics as well.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Jerome was giving us dynamics. So
absolutely.
Okay, Steph, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Right.
So Talia, I love Talia's voice. Talia has she has a brightness in spirit, but she also has a very brightness in her vocal as well. When I was trying to think about who her vocal reminded me of, I started thinking about like the Braxton sisters, like a Tamar, because it's not Tony, because Tony's low, but it's like just the way that she said.
It's like Tony Braxton Bright, right?
Yes, absolutely. Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
And soprano high, right? High.
Yes. It was really interesting because I think that Blake kind of nailed it as far as Talia went. There were her shaky moments kind of came in like the verse in the middle of the verses where the melody is kind of like here. But once the song opened up, when she got into her higher register and in the higher keys, her voice just soared. It was outstanding. And I think that because a lot of the song ends up in that higher spot, or the back end is more in that higher spot, and there's more power parts in the latter portion of the song, I think that she really soared then. So just like you said, James, we all as vocalists have times where we start a song and it's just like, ooh. But then it's like, what are you going to do? And I really love the way that she continued to smile. She continued to sing, and they looked like they just had a great time on stage. And the end result was really great.
It was. It really was.
Yeah.
So who won and who got sent home?
Jerome won the battle, and Talia, unfortunately, went home.
But again, if you ever want to see an example of a gracious loser, because you don't lose.
No.
Said, you know what? I won.
Yes.
Getting this to this point, I won.
Absolutely.
The graciousness of Talia, like you got to go back and watch how she left, because she just was so grateful just to be given the opportunity.
Totally.
And, people remember that. Especially people who are looking to book singers.
Right.
A good friend of mine told me once, you'd be surprised how far niceness and pleasantries will take you.
Come on.
Not fake pleasantries, just pleasant.
Come on, kindness.
Especially because
come on, pleasant.
We get singers get reputations of being divas or divos.
That's right.
And I can't be bothered with. No.
Right.
She'll be booked based off of just
that's
who
right.
She is
that's right.
As a singer. So
come on, no drama.
No more. Okay.
And just to kind of put a bow on this, knowing her story, knowing that she had suffered a miscarriage, I know that she's leaving this experience being pregnant again, and I'm guessing being far enough along to be comfortable enough to share it. Come on, God.
I love that she said, I'm going to be able to go back and say, hey, look, you're there. It's
incredible.
Mommy. It's you right here while I'm singing.
That is incredible.
Oh, that got me.
Yes.
Pull on my heartstrings.
Yes.
All right, great. Who do we have next?
So next was from Team Kelly. We had J.B. Summers versus Rachel Christine, and they sang Light On by Maggie Rogers.
I was really, really looking forward to this one.
Yes.
Because both of them had such unique in a good way.
In the best way.
Can go either way.
Yes.
Unique. Unique auditions.
Yes.
And had incredible auditions and had two of the most awesome song choice auditions that I knew Kelly was going to go and pick a song that would suit both of them pretty hand in glove. I love this. I love this. And it took listening to this in my good ears to really appreciate.
Right.
Stephanie, were you the one that said you went back and listened to this one again too? And you were like, wow.
I didn't. I definitely heard things that I did not hear when I listened to it with my good ears. It was fantastic in my good ears.
JB, you were and are one of my favorite singers on this show because you bring a styling, you bring a vocal quality that nobody else has on this show. Right. To Stephanie's point, the whole storytelling, singer-songwriter, but it's a completely different sound. And I said, there is an artist that was big in the 80s that JB reminds me of, and I couldn't figure it out, and it popped in my head this morning. JB, I know you're in your early 30s, so you probably do know who this artist is, but if you do not, Steve Winwood.
I do not know Steve Winwood.
You know his music.
Okay.
In the high life again.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
Song.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Bring me a higher love.
Whoa. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Think of Steve Winwood's voice. Think of those songs.
Spot on.
JB. I said Steve Winwood.
That's it. That's it.
I said, there is a dude. I need you to sing some Steve Winwood material because it would just be bananas. That's who you remind me of. And I was a huge fan back then when I was young, and I'm a huge fan of Steve Winwood now. That's who you remind me of. It's such a pure voice. It's so incredible. Dude, you got range for years. You got range for millennials. I love the control that you have of your voice. I love that you aren't afraid to flip it into a falsetto.
Come on, flip.
Things get so high.
Yes.
I was going to mention that on the previous battle. Another trick is you don't have to sing everything full out, y'all. Listen to what JB did in some of the really high sections. Now that could be styling, but that could also be JB being a very intelligent singer, a very intelligent musician, that if you don't have a note full out, train your falsetto. Especially people that identify as male, train that high part of your voice, please.
Right.
It's like we tell women, train that low part of your voice.
Right.
You got to train it all if you're going to be a singer.
Yeah, come on.
And JB has that down. It's so refreshing to hear such a pure, clean, skilled vocal.
Right.
In his vocal. Every line is just very exact. Surgeon.
Yes.
Exact.
Yes.
I love that about your voice, JB, and I am a huge fan. Rachel, girlfriend, it's just. I was talking to Stephanie yesterday because we had a little time to marinate on Tuesday night's performance. I was talking to Stephanie and I was like, what is it about Rachel's voice that's just so exciting? And I said, Rachel has this other gear that she can turn her voice into. It's like, I was speaking to Shaq Khan earlier. Shaq Khan is a person who reminds me who has this gear. She can just go to this other place in her voice that is completely different from the normal part that she sings in.
Right.
And turn and you're like, whoa.
Right.
And I just feel like, not saying that Rachel and Shaq Khan have similar voices because they don't. Rachel's more of the ethereal 90s Alanis Morissette type of progressive music, progressive rock singer. But she has this gear.
Right.
I'm almost call it like in a Alanis Morissette gear, right? So that's why I think Uninvited was such an incredible audition.
Right. Yeah.
And she used it. And singers, take note, when you have a special quality to your voice that is so uniquely yours, don't use it all the time. Use it sparingly. Use it as your secret weapon. And that's what Rachel did. There were parts of it where Rachel was singing and she was in the cut, but then she would just switch to this other ethereal, progressive rock gear that like made her stand out.
Yeah.
You got to have a gimmick.
Absolutely.
You got to have a gimmick in a good way.
Yes.
So it was really, it was a really complete performance. That's the best way I have to describe what happened. It was very complete.
Yeah.
So Stephanie, what did you think? I can't wait to hear what you said about, or what your thoughts were on this.
Yeah. So it was really interesting for me because as I was watching just live on TV, everything sounded okay during the performance, but I was a little confused because it was like my eyes were deceiving my ears or something was going on. There was a bit of an uncomfortability that I could see not between JB and Rachel, but there was something. And that's only because regular viewers probably didn't see it, hear it, interpret it. I did. It just felt like there was and afterwards, the judges started speaking of, there were issues at the beginning and this, that, and the other. And Kelly said that I stood because I was trying to feed the energy. I don't know if it was a sound issue because vocally, they both sang the song really, really well, which is why I was confused as to what I was feeling as I was watching the performance. So I don't know if they were having sound issues. The song began with just guitar. And it's an interesting timing. So, and JB, I believe, began. And he came in right. I don't know what the thing was because there was not really a vocal thing.
Right. Okay.
So.
Because I was like, what?
There was something. Yeah.
I didn't hear anything vocally, right?
No, it just was. I felt like they were working between themselves. They were working it out on the stage to get back into the pocket of the performance. That's what it felt like to me.
Good.
That's what it felt like to me.
It's professionalism to be able to do that in the middle of the performance.
For sure. I'm not going to repeat everything that you said about JB because I completely agree. The falsetto at the end of the lights, when they did that long lights on and he went, because it was interesting because Rachel ran her butt off during that part. And I was impressed that
you can run like that.
Right. So I was really impressed that JB did not do the same thing, that he chose something stylistically different to do. And again, his voice, smooth, that tone, incredible. Rachel, the texture and the coolness of her voice is so awesome. So much fun. I love hearing her. Right. Her lows are really cool as well. And again, that run that she did in the lights on was incredible. It was fantastic. So, I really enjoyed, I think that I almost would have enjoyed the performance more if I had closed my eyes and was not watching them trying to work it out because I was a little bit distracted by that.
Right. I'm going to try that. I'm going to go back and listen to this because I've listened to this one a few times. I'm going to go back and try that technique with this one. Because I love the vocal.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. All right. So who went home and who stayed?
This was a rough one because I love them both. So Rachel won the battle and JB unfortunately went home. Yeah.
Yeah. That one was hard for me. That was hard because I was such a fan.
But, good for Rachel because I know that she struggles with nerves. So if there was something going on in the actual performance, I'm glad that she did not let nerves and what was going on overtake her, and have that diminish her vocal. Because they both sounded amazing. So well done to both of you.
All right, Stephanie. Well, who do we have next? Very interesting next.
Yeah, next was supposed to be from Team Blake, Neil Sasek and Alex Whalen. But before the performance, Carson was going to introduce them, but instead shared with us that due to personal reasons, Alex had to bow out of the competition. What I thought was really, really cool is that Neil still came out and sang the song, and he did a bang up job. He did such an amazing job performing. I heard it through the grapevine by Marvin Gaye. I would have loved to have heard them both sing it. I was really looking forward to hearing Alex again, and we wish him nothing but the best. But way to continue on with the show, Neil. Great job.
Yes, Stephanie. I think that was Neil, dude. Like, way to be a professional, number one.
Absolutely.
Number two, your vocal.
Come on, let's talk about that. I didn't even really talk about the vocal.
You were the very first, I believe you were the very first blind.
I think so.
Of the entire season, if I remember correctly. And so a lot of times people will forget the early blind auditions. Right. And I think that you show that you're seasoned.
Yes.
That you're not here to play.
That's right.
And that you are going to be a formidable contestant on this show.
I can't wait to hear more of you.
From country to Motown, and you slayed both of them.
Yes. Watch
out, world.
Yes.
Watch out, voice contestants.
Yes. Neil's
here, and he's not going to let you forget about him.
That's right.
Incredible vocal.
Yes, it really, really was.
Here to have been able to hear the both of them do it at the same time would have been nuts.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so let's get to our final performance of the night.
Yes.
And this was our leak, right, Steph?
This was our leak. Yes, it was. From Team Chance, we had NOIVAS versus Ray Urel, and they sang Jealous Guy. It's a John Lennon song, but they did it in the styling of Donny Hathaway.
Can I just take a second? I just need to take a second to tell you all that Donny Hathaway is the greatest male vocalist of all time.
Yes.
You can debate me on it. But
I won't today.
If you're familiar with who Donny Hathaway is, check out his catalog. It'll bless your soul.
Yes.
So I was very, very excited about what was about to go down because I love this song and I'm familiar with this version, Donny Hathaway's version. So I was like, wow, they're about to sing this. The first thing I want to talk about is Ray. I said, Ray sounds like a genre and specifically a particular singer from a group from the 90s, an R&B singer from the 90s. Stephanie, I'm about to give it to you.
Give it to me.
I don't know the singer's name because he was in a group and he really wasn't. He was a featured singer in this group, but I don't know what the gentleman's name was. But the group is High Five.
Oh.
It does not sound like the lead singer from the guy who sings the song Kissing Game. Like, think of Kissing Game and think of maybe not the same timbre in his voice because his voice is a little higher, is a more Tevin Campbell range higher, but it was the same styling of his voice.
Okay.
And you may not agree, but that's what I heard. I was you got to go back. It might have been a few years since you've heard this.
No, I know that song well. I just have a different take on who he sounds like.
Different take on Ray.
Yes.
And I say that because it is not a voice that's going to give you the ornamentations, the fireworks. It's a very solid, strong R&B singing voice.
Yes.
And that's what I was like proud at Ray. Ray's not going to give you all the fanfare that sometimes goes in with a more soulful R&B voice, but he's going to give you a solid vocal. He's going to give you a solid melody, which is so important. You cannot forget the melody of a song, much less a John Lennon, Donny Hathaway inspired song. So in a song like this, I thought Ray did a markup job, a bang up job because he gave us melody, he gave us specifically what we were supposed to hear in Jealous Guy. So let me go on to Nueva. Nueva, I did my reconnaissance on you. I did my research on you. And I see that you've, as Savan, you were on another singing competition show. But I've not been able to check that out. But my spies told me that you've done other shows. And because you are a showman. You are a showman. And I was like, man, you can tell. And he's 30, right? So he's been doing this a minute. And I was like, well, you can tell that he is very confident in his performance.
Yes.
And very confident in his vocal ability.
Yeah.
And can sing his face off. He's a chameleon though. Like he's a chameleon. Because I was like, is that Nueva? Like seriously?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, you snapped, sir.
Uh-oh. Come on, snap.
You snapped. When you stood up, when you stepped up the second half of the song, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Like literally stepped up because they left the mic. They left their mic stands at that point. Yeah.
And then the rest was history. And Nueva was like, you know what? This is why I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what I love about you, Nueva, is that as big of a personality as you have on stage is as big of a voice that you have on stage.
Right.
Some people have big personalities and little voices, big voices and little personalities, but it matches.
It sure does.
Stephanie will tell you, I can really appreciate.
Oh, yes.
I can really appreciate. So the one thing, Norris, I would say, and this is just a personal preference because I am so guilty of this. So, and because I'm a fan, because we have a lot of similarities in our performance.
Yes.
In our voices, a lot of similarities. The one thing I can really appreciate is somebody gave me some really good advice years ago. I said, well, James, don't give it to them all. Don't give it to them all. Save it. And I think you have an incredible growl and grit to your voice. But you don't need to give them that, sir. You got an incredible voice as it is. Point blank, period. You got an incredible voice. So save it. Save it for them. Save it for them when they can really, like when you stepped out, right? But I would recommend to not staying in the growl and the grit of your voice for the rest of the song. You know, maybe a couple of notes here, a couple of notes there.
Right.
Because nobody can growl and grit like you.
Right.
Dad. It's on the birth of your new daughter.
Yes.
So that's the only advice that I would give. But again, formidable contestant. And I think he's going to go really far in the competition because he's got a great personality and a great voice. Stephanie.
I'll start with Nueva as just kind of running off to what you're just saying. I was looking at this this performance on YouTube, of course.
Right.
And I started scrolling through the comments, and I noticed that somebody said of Nueva that before his battle was aired, he was in everybody else's video, the other battles. Did you see that? And that he had been bigging up and giving props and giving support to all of the other battle contestants. So that just shows what a great, great person that you are, Nueva.
Again, I can relate because I love being a hype person.
Yes. I absolutely.
Like seriously, like it just gives me joy. So I get you, young man. I get you, sir.
Love that.
Awesome.
I really love that.
Yeah.
Great control, great stage presence, powerful vocal, gave us that growl. This song choice was interesting for me, and I understand why Chance picked it because he had sampled this song on one of his songs, so it's probably very near and dear to him. There's a lot of space in that song, and usually that's good. I don't know how much I liked all of the space for this performance. I think that both Nueva and Ray did an amazing job with the song and with the space given. I think they both, in their own ways, did such an amazing job. Nueva, I really, really loved your performance. I really, really loved your personality. And there was another battle group. It was, I believe, Chloe and help me, James. Chloe and Nariella, where Nariella was a little bit hesitant to give all of herself in the performance.
Yeah.
And I believe Chance told her, don't diminish yourself.
Right.
And I kind of went back and forth in my mind about how I felt about how demonstrative you were in your performance style as opposed to Ray, who is a little bit more calm. Right. But what I think happened is that, Nueva, I think that you brought Ray out of his shell a little bit. And I think that that's really cool. And I think that I'm glad that you did not diminish yourself and that you performed your part the way that you wanted to and the way that is true to you. So well done, Nueva. Ray is giving me that clean, straight up R&B 2000s male R&B vocal. Now, in my mind, and this is what I was calling you about yesterday, James. Right. In my mind, I'm trying to differentiate what is between the 90s R&B vocal and the 2000s R&B male vocal. Like, what is the difference? And I came up with a Venn diagram in my mind, and I'll see if you agree. So in the 90s, in my little circle is gospel. In my 2000s is more of a leaning towards pop, but in the center, there's both soul. There's soul in both of those vocals. So I think that's where the difference is. There's a little bit more of a pop leaning.
You got more Jodeci in the
gospel. Yes.
2000s, you got more John.
2000s, you have John Legend, you have Mario, you have Omarion, you have Usher, a kind of a brighter, more clean, but with the soul. And that's what Ray was giving me. It was very bright. And I loved the way when it was time to step out after Nueva stepped out from the mic stand and did his thing. Ray stepped out and gave me runs. I kind of disagree with you, James. He gave me ornamentation in his own way. It doesn't always have to be demonstrative and big in these. Right. He was giving me run. He was giving me falsetto. He was giving me all these kind of different.
It didn't bother me, or my ear. It was so perfectly placed that my ear was not like, oh.
You know what it is? It's because it's so smooth. Yeah. It was very like this, rather than it kind of just being in your face. It was very smooth the way that he did his runs. Yeah. So I really, really, really loved his vocal and loved Ray's performance. Yeah. I was a little nervous for Ray because coming up against a Nueva, their styles are very, very different. And I was afraid that Ray might get outshone, not necessarily vocal quality wise, because both of their vocal qualities are great, but just I knew Nueva was going to give us performance, and I was afraid that Ray might not give us performance, but he did.
Yeah. All right. So what happened?
Ooh, what happened? So the winner of the battle was Ray.
I was shocked.
I was very surprised, but
not in a bad way shocked. I was
no.
Because to the point that you made earlier about because Nueva was so demonstrative with his performance and Ray is more in the back, in the cut, smooth singer. Right. I was like, is that going to be picked up? And it absolutely was.
It was. But this is not the end of the road for Nueva because
never. He
actually went to, or was stolen by, his first choice, had he not been blocked, Coach Blake.
Woo! That is a huge pickup for Blake.
Oh, yeah.
Huge pickup for Blake's diversity of sound, diversity period.
Yes.
Blake needs a soul singer.
Oh, yeah.
On his team.
Absolutely.
And a strong one at that.
Absolutely.
So it is going to be interesting because I don't know if he was giving subliminal messages to show with the 10-gallon hat that Nueva was wearing. I said, is he giving subliminal messages that he can holiday, as they say, that he can holiday in country and western?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Country Pop.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it.
Me too.
Wow. Wow. Well, that wraps up Battles, Stephanie. And it was an epic season of Battles.
Absolutely.
We've just been so thoroughly blown away.
Yes.
Just we're fangirling and fanboying all over the place with the Battles this year. It was so amazing to see the artistry, the talent, and the diggity by our drummer that we love.
I did not know what that was. It was like, is he stutter?
I know that the knockouts don't start for a couple of weeks, but
yeah, what's up with that?
But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's a tribute to send Blake off. But
yeah,
what do you got to tell them, Steph, before we go?
Well, before we go, I have to tell you that they let us know who the mega mentor was going to be once we start those knockouts. It is the one and only Reba McEntire. Yes.
Living legend.
Yes. Very excited to see. And they gave us a couple quick snippets of of some of her feedback and some of her encouragement. And she looks like she's just going to be so dear and so loving and so kind to the contestants. So I am looking forward to seeing more of her and her feedback. So let me let you know what you need to know. So don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Pitchy Podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you can be the first to know when we drop a new episode. And as you know, we are on YouTube now. Please search for the Pitchy Podcast and hit that subscribe button so you know when we drop a new video. And also don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We're going to get rid of TikTok because they're acting up with some of our playlist music things. They're not letting me upload some things based on our free music that we got legally. So I don't know what's up with that. So we're just going to stick with Instagram for right now, but be sure to follow us on Instagram for new episode alerts, episode clips, and so much more.
All right. So until we meet you all again, thank you all for always tuning in, and thank you for giving us grace during this time of real life.
Yes.
So until we see you all again, have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.